My name is Kübra. I'm a sustainability researcher at Ergüden Governance Academy, and currently I'm based in Istanbul. In the past, I used to be emerging markets analyst in New York City. I used to work for a hedge fund before. At the moment, at the Academy, we are working on a series of articles, and actually Dr. Ergüden, Paul, Mohan, we are all engaged and we are all authors of this writing initiative. So we may also be referring to our articles. I will talk about SDG 8. It is decent work for all, but I thought that it would be helpful maybe first to start mentioning about an example to demonstrate why SDG 8 is so important. So we live in a world where we often talk about economic imbalances. Imbalances in our society, unfortunately, are impacting almost in every sphere of our daily activities. And they are impacting livelihoods as well. Through some of the divides in our societies, we constantly hear about individuals who feel disenfranchised, both economically, sometimes politically. So COVID-19 is making these injustices even worse because these days individuals who have enough savings, for example, who are able to protect their health, they can weather this environment by staying at home, working remotely from safety. On the other hand, we have a lot of people who don't have maybe enough savings, so they are living day by day. And even during this dangerous pandemic, they are going out to survive, taking any jobs available, endangering their health. Okay, so this is something actually that we all are talking about these days. And I just wanted to show this as an example about why we should really ambitiously pursue SDG 8 and why it's so important. So SDG 8 in short is about promoting sustainable and inclusive economic growth and reaching full and productive employment, and it's about decent work for all. Just because I happen to be associated a bit more with the financial sector, I would like to give some examples about what people in the financial sector could do to promote this SDG. And then I will also mention about where AI could be helpful or where it's maybe less helpful. SDG 8 SDG 8 promotes financing corporations that have a purpose, and it has also a positive impact on society, cares about inclusion. So several action points for the financial sector individuals, professionals would be that we need to first make sure that funds are channeled in a way that infrastructure investments are responding also to the needs of low-income users, of women, of marginalized groups with disabilities, indigenous people, and even people from various racial and ethnic minorities. Also, investments need to be inclusive in the sense that they need to include microfinance, for example, credit and insurance products for small business owners as well. And also engagement, we need to be engaged in diversified sources of capital. For example, fintech or crowdfunding, impact investing, all of these could also really help reach areas of financing where we couldn't reach before. Now, how does AI relate to all of this conversation? SDG 8 is expected to promote, first of all, higher levels of economic activity. So that's one of the ambitions. There's an upside here related to AI because there are various studies that are suggesting that AI can add up to 10% of GDP in the next 10 to 15 years. That is great news. However, most of the times when AI is involved, sometimes when AI is involved, large corporations can afford those technologies better. And then there's a risk that large corporations will benefit from that share, the higher share of that economic growth that's coming from AI, and smaller companies don't benefit as much. It's kind of similar to the divergence we are seeing currently in the stock market. I mean, there was a meltdown at the beginning of this year because of COVID, but then what happened? The stock market recovered very fast, but can we say the same thing for for many people's lives? Probably not necessarily. People who own small businesses they haven't really recovered, or if somebody had lost a position, probably they may not necessarily be doing much better. So so that's one area. And then another area, though, where SDG 8 is also expected to promote policies that will lead to financial inclusion. And maybe this is one area where we could really see positive influence from AI. Why? Because, for example, fintech can really benefit from AI, and other alternative sources like impact investing and crowdfunding, they could also benefit from this type of technologies. So, and this could help financial inclusion. And just like Paul has said earlier, what is one of the main issues in finance is that there's not enough trust. Trust levels are low. And one of the ways of fixing this problem is to make sure that financial professionals are actually guiding the funds into where they can really make a change. And maybe AI, if it's really helping financial inclusion, maybe this could be good news that it could really help solve one problem.
Thanks, Kübra. I have a quick follow-up question. You mentioned some research articles, sustainability research articles, etc. So if our audience wanted to find them, where could they find them? Maybe you could type it in the chat message where people can find your work and the institute's work.
I am very happy to do this. But also, if you could go to Arguden Governance Academy and on our website, and it's called Governance Files. It's on the section on Governance Files. We have that, and then the Sustainability Governance Scorecard that Dr. Arguden has just mentioned, that is also there, and that is more a research, and the governance files are more articles.